It was 7.5 feet tall. It was a huge.
Did you ever go back to the area to visit it?
No.
Would you ever?
If there was enough people.
If you and I went in the middle of the day?
If you could do about 3 more people, I'll go with you.
I know 3 more people.
Okay.
It was a scene like this where it all began, or so the witness is about to tell you. Hold on to your seats. We'll get to it here in a second, but I gotta get to the top of this hill. I need to cut down on the lucky strikes because it's catching up with me. Here we go. We haven't totally summited our obstacle course, but we're getting close. There's a path right here. As far as I know, never documented on YouTube. I've not seen any footage. This is a separate area other than the places I've taken Lee Strauss and the Browns. This is a different one. It is a rock sanctuary. And you can't help but let your imagination run wild. We're gonna save this for a nighttime adventure. What's this? Oh, you notice this patch. Well, how could you miss it? This amazing new 2025 spring attire brought to you by Olympic Strange Days, designed by fashionista Nancy, I almost said Nancy Drew, Nancy Fry. She's the artistic eyes behind my crazy concepts, and boy oh boy, when I said knock out a patch, she did an amazing patch. This is a $20 patch, guys, and it's worth every bit. This is rubber, Velcro, and tack welded with a 3M sticker. Navy SEALs use 3M and they use Velcro. It's good enough for you. By the way, you want to stick around for the end of this episode. I have Easter eggs. Did you know that? They're preluded by the sound of a record skipping. When it comes to the cedar groves, well, my experience, the cedars love to keep secrets, but not so much the redwoods, and not so much in the Jedediah National Forest. And that's where our story begins, along with our reluctant witness. So I give to you, without further ado, HOWL, Disclosure of the Wolfman. We're in the historic town of Poulsbo, Washington, home to giant maple bars and dogman encounters. The last thing I thought I would get out of Poulsbo was an amazing witness, someone that we're calling Mark. And Mark is with us off camera today for obvious reasons. It's a small community up here, and we want to keep it that way. So the only thing we're changing here is just the perspective we have so far on things like keeping Mark's anonymity in place. Mark, thanks for doing this.
You're welcome.
So we just kind of hung out for the last hour, had a cup of coffee. You know, a lot of what you're about to describe would be too hard for the general public to even compute, but let alone the fact that your story about Dogman, it's hard not to call it a werewolf because what you're describing to me reminds me so much of a werewolf. And I've heard only bits and pieces of it, but we're going to hear the whole thing from beginning. And as much as you feel comfortable, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself as much as you're comfortable telling. You don't have to give your background specifics, but you're fairly familiar with the woods, let's say, and still are. You're an outdoorsy kind of guy. So you're coming from the perspective of knowing the wild immensely. We'll put that much out there. And just kind of start from there.
I was on a road trip and I stopped in to the Jedediah Redwood Forest area, and I went for a walk in where they filmed the Ewoks. And as I was traveling down the trail, I was going to take a selfie of myself, and I set it up on a tree across the trail, went to the other side, stood in front of a big, huge redwood tree. I got my picture taken, and as I took it off the 10-second, I heard this loud roar, scream, and as I started walking down the trail, I glanced to my left, and I saw what at first I thought was a bear. I'm still nervous about the noise I heard, and then I glanced at my cameras and I looked back up at it, and it was what I knew as a werewolf. And I took one more picture of it before I left, and I was pretty nervous when I went out the trail. I got to my car, drove out of the long dirt road. I took off up the highway about a half an hour, and I pulled over and I looked at it, and I couldn't believe what I had actually taken a picture of. And it was about 7.5 feet tall. It had a body like Arnold Schwarzenegger, had the chest, the small waist, long arms, and that's pretty much a short version of the story.
Okay. There's other things, other elements to the story here I want to go back to. First of all, you're in the Jedediah National Forest and along what is known as the Smith River. It's a well-known tourist location. I've been there a couple times. It's one of the most pristine,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
beautiful. The Smith River is known as probably some of the cleanest river water in America, and it looks like Lake Tahoe. So you're there in the summer?
Yeah, I was in May.
Okay, like this kind of weather. So beautiful spring weather, probably tepid temperatures of 70. Not much foot traffic in May at all. At that time, there's spring break may be happening, but things get hot and heavy in June all the way to September. So you kind of have the forest all to yourself. And it's called the Jedediah. And here they have Return of the Jedi. It's kind of awesome how that works. And so you're out looking for Ewok country because Lucas was out there filming.
Yeah, I mean, where they filmed the whole thing, and it's just a beautiful area. It's only about a half a mile around it, and it was getting late. It was about 5:30, 5:40 when I heard it. I call it because I'm not sure what it was. I mean, it looked to me like a werewolf, but I guess nowadays they call them dogmen. And it was the noise actually, what came out of it was worse than actually seeing it. I've never heard anything like that loud.
Right.
It just vibrated my whole body. It was incredible.
Okay, so that's interesting. So as you're taking the photograph, you're doing like the classic redwood tree hugger shot. You have it on time lapse. You're setting up your shot, you got your phone out, and then as you're getting ready to hug the tree, or as you're hugging it, you hear the sound.
Well, after I had taken the picture, I walked across to pick my phone up.
Yeah.
And I actually shut the 10-second thing off.
Yeah.
And just as I did that, I heard the noise. So I still had the camera on, and so I just, when all the hair on my arm and back of my neck stood up.
It's on video mode or picture mode at this point?
I wish it was on video mode.
Right.
It would have picked up that horrible noise. But no, I was just a picture. It was a 10-second delay.
Okay.
And because my son and I had been there the year before, and I wanted to take a picture of the same tree, send it to him and say, hey, does this look familiar? But anyway, I walked, I just decided I'm getting out of here. I had to go the same way that I heard the noise, which was pretty frightening. And as I'm walking out, I'm kind of trying to pay attention to where I had heard it. And that's when I looked to the left of me, which I was going out. I heard I saw what I thought originally first was a bear standing up. And it was about 7.5 feet tall. So I thought it was a pretty big bear. But I'm not worried about the bear. I'm more worried about the noise. And once I looked at my camera and I looked down at the phone and I saw that it was not a bear, I was able to look back, and I'm still trying to, I've never seen anything like this in all the time I've been in the woods. So I took one more shot of it, and then I looked a little closer and I go, this thing is huge. It was 7.5 feet at least, because it was kind of a little bit leaning over. And that's when I decided, I got to get out of here. And I didn't run because I knew that it would be easily catch me. So I just kind of walked in circles out, keeping an eye on every side, because I have heard stories that sometimes if you see something in front of you, there might be something behind you.
Well, that's what I want to ask you. Is so as you're hearing the noise, I see your eyes kind of gaze off to the right. You're remembering this scene.
Yeah.
And there's something happening on the left. Are you saying that the noise is maybe different than what's happening on the left?
Okay, so
is it connected in your mind?
When I was walking out, it's all of the noise was to the right-hand side of me. But as I'm walking out, I'm starting to face off trail.
Okay, your body's positioning a different way.
I'm looking straight at where the noise came from, but I was a little off. I was too far to the right. And when I looked to the left, I saw it, and I didn't think that was what made the noise. But then after I saw it, I realized that it was the thing that made the noise. And when I looked at it, and I'm looking up, up at it, I realized that was what made the loud roar.
Okay.
That's the only description I've never heard. All the animals I've heard anything like that.
So as you're out there, Mark, alone with this sound, you have your camera facing something you consider it being a giant black bear on its hind legs, standing up. At any point when you're looking at your phone, do you raise your gaze up to actually see what you're filming?
Absolutely. Once I saw that it wasn't a bear, I've seen lots of bear. I've seen polar bear, grizzly, and also many black bear. I've had 3 close calls with a black bear. I know what they look like, and even when they stand, which is very rare, and and it didn't look like that. There was the V in it, the total V in this animal. It looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger standing there, had big muscles on its arms.
Yeah, because you described the proportions as being almost cartoonish.
Yeah.
Like the V formation. You're just like, you had to see this V.
The picture doesn't really show the muscle definition that I saw. It was incredible. I mean, it looked like it could, tear a tree down easily. It was huge.
And you said when it made a roar sound, you could feel it.
I could feel it inside me, literally. It shook me. And that's never happened. I mean, I've heard all sorts of different types of bears, and I spent a lot of time in Alaska. But it was pretty frightening. My hair on my arm stood up, back of my neck. That's never happened, ever. I've heard cougars really close to me scream, and it bothered me, but it didn't do that.
This thing is close to you. Like if I was looking down the dock here, can you give me an idea how close you were as far as like pegs, like 1 peg, 2 peg, 3 pegs?
when I first saw it?
Yeah, so how far away?
I would say when I first saw it, it was probably right about the bend in the And the
So what is that, about less than 100 feet? 100 feet or so?
yeah, I'd say about that. That's
And
pretty close.
open foliage. 'Cause
Yeah, it was
it's nothing but ferns and redwoods.
No, I mean, when I showed you the picture there, you could see that it's only up to his, like maybe his ankles, or just past his ankles, and his arm was down past his knees.
Did you hear any movement?
No, he just sat there. He just kind of turned his head a little towards me and just looked at me.
What was the face doing?
Just stare. He was kind of staring at me, kind of at not. His head was not straight at me. It was a little bit this way, but he was looking at me,
Kinda
and that really bothered me.
Like it was like a humanity to it, different than an animal, or animal-like? Like is it positioned?
That's a good question. It just looked like he was curious because he probably didn't hear or see me. I walk pretty quiet in the woods because I see more wildlife that way.
Gotcha.
But that's not the kind of wildlife I like to look at.
Right. So it would go without saying you don't want to see one again?
No.
Okay. And we're putting this at 10 years or less, this incident? Is that about the ballpark?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And again, a tourist area.
Yeah, I know.
Bigfoot country.
That's what really bothered me. And this is part of the reason why I'm giving my my account of it, because I didn't want, I just don't want anybody to get hurt from, I've heard, after I saw this, I've kind of looked into it, because I didn't even know they were called dogmen, and now that I've looked into it, I feel as though they're a little bit, I guess you could say, aggressive, and I don't really know anything about them, but
yeah, it's new to me too.
Yeah, it just worries me that someone else could possibly get hurt.
This photo, I think, has been leaked, and you admitted the fact that someone probably got a hold of this.
Yeah, there's
that you
been.
Trusted.
I've seen a couple other people that have put it on just as a picture, because that's all it is. I wish I would have videoed it, but I was really.
Well, you weren't with the mind,
dude. I was really more into getting out of there.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah, and you can. That's why in the photo there, it'd be nice to show them the original photo, if possible, or show them where you were standing perspective-wise, because it shows it's the blackest thing.
Yeah,
it actually looks like an absorbing light.
Yeah, I know it.
You know what I mean? Like stealth black.
It's the black. I mean, even the black bears I've seen weren't as black as this thing.
And you can't see like, you can't see anatomy to the point where you can see like skin folds or like transition of hair to flesh.
I could see the muscle definition on it better than what the camera took, and the reason why the picture isn't as good is because it was getting late, very late, and this, as you can see, the sun is backlit all the hair on it, so I was shooting into the to the light, and also it was getting dusk. Okay. So the sun was really low.
Yeah, you can see at one point on the right-hand side, the sun kind of coming back off of the fur.
Yeah. Or hair? I don't know.
Yeah, and it shows it's a different color.
It looked like hair, yeah. It looked like hair.
So it doesn't absorb light, I guess, because the sun's hitting the shoulder and you can see the sheen, and you can see the sun rays kind of penetrating through the canopy. And I just have goosebumps because I've swam in the Smith River, and you felt like you're at a resort. Like, it's beautiful. It's in some of the most pristine water I've ever swam in. And to know that something like that could be right on the edge of the old growth of the Jedidiah.
Yeah, I know. It's a beautiful area. I hate to say this stuff because it's just, I hate to think that people won't go there now because of this, but you know, it's, I just wanted to relay this because I'm just worried about what the potential could be to this thing.
What, let's walk a little bit more here. What do you think the possibilities are? Well, let me ask you this question instead. Had you had any previous encounters or experiences, even going back as a kid, with anything that was strange and unusual? I'm gonna have you walk up here so I can not film you.
Not really.
Like ghost or UFOs or any kind of like telekinesis or psychic ability in your family, any kind of something that made your life different in that way?
Just this.
Okay.
This really changed my outlook on creatures, I should say. I've always kind of believed in Bigfoot. I've never seen one, and the reason I say that was because the Bluff Creek video just looks to me like a real animal, especially after they realized that it had anatomy of a women's anatomy.
Breast, yeah.
And, yeah. I didn't want to say that on camera.
Well, that's all right. We just can't say titties. But we just did.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it just made it more believable. I've seen fake stuff where I knew it was really fake. You could tell. But anyway, this really changed my outlook on strange and unusual things.
Okay, I want to still go back there. So at this point, you actually see with your eyes what you have on your camera. You have both things happening. So you have a photo and like, oh,
yeah,
and you're seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay, and you see facial expression.
Yeah.
You see pupils?
I can see
eyes of any kind or brow ridge?
I can see a dark eye. I can't tell you if it was black or brown. It probably was black. It was pretty, that's a pretty good distance. Even though it was a big animal, the only thing that I was focusing on was those muscles. That thing was huge.
Show me with your hands.
I mean, like this.
Okay, so he's literally like, I don't know, if you can picture like 2 or 3 things of French bread,
Yeah,
like
it was just huge.
proportion.
Arms, the muscle definition, its chest, the legs were pretty hairy, so I couldn't see too much muscle depth, but you can kind of see the legs are kind of backlit, and they look skinny, but they weren't really that skinny. The picture just doesn't do it justice,
Wrapping up, because you have, unfortunately, you just lost a family member. You've got to take care of funeral arrangements here. Thanks for working this in to, we just met. And I should mention, the way we found each other here is so crazy, because I'm literally looking for a bed because I was sleeping on a box, basically like 2x4s and a sleeping bag in this cabin, and Daddy needed a bed, and we found a mutual friend of yours, and he had this $2,000 mattress for free. I'm like, I'm coming for it. And we got to talking about Bigfoot and the documentary A Flash of Beauty, and he said, well, I don't know about Bigfoot, but I've got this friend of mine that had this incredible story about this upright dog. And I was just like, you mean Dog Man? And so when you called me the other day, I was so excited. I was just like, are you the Dog Man guy? And so I just didn't expect this to happen so quick. And so for that, I really want to thank you for doing that.
That is no problem.
For trusting us and being on record to, a degree here about what has transpired. What do you want people to know about your experience? And what's the takeaway?
That they are real, and that I know that people don't know me from Adam, but I'm not making this up. I'm not getting anything for it, and I don't want anything for it. I just want to, it's kind of more of a public information.
Yeah.
Just to tell people that they are real.
Okay.
And this was definitely a real, the picture is real. It's not fake. I couldn't fake it anyway. And
oh, I haven't shown him the picture yet. I wonder why. Let's go ahead and insert this picture here now. It's really a first. It's an either or situation. Like, this is not a stump. This is not anything that is natural to that environment, just given how black this is.
yeah, you can see the definition of the pointed ears.
Yeah.
They're not rounded ears like a bear. It's got a V shape to its body. No bear looks like that. It was 7.5 feet tall. It was huge.
Did you ever go back to the area to visit it?
No.
Would you ever?
If there was enough people.
If you and I went in the middle of the day?
If you could do about 3 more people, I'll go with you.
I know 3 more people.
Okay.
Would you ever go back with us?
I'd go back with you.
I mean, we keep it all
I'll show you exactly where it happened.
Hey, if you want us to go to the area and film go down in the comment section and let us know. You know, resources would be counted on the audience to do something like that for lodging and travel, but this is the kind of stuff that we want to be able to do. We have a witness that is absolutely 100% on the record telling you the whole truth, and this should not be down in there, right? This is Bigfoot habitat. This is Bohemian Grove.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I mean, it's up north of where they filmed Bluff Creek. So,
but maybe they should be there. Like, you know, we've had reports here in the Pacific Northwest, as far as Oregon and Washington and Canada, of similar things happening. And although we never expected to talk about lycanthropy or werewolves, or Dogman, we find ourselves here right now doing so in the Olympic Peninsula. So I guess this isn't really goodbye as much as I'll see you later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I like the sound of that better.
I could show you. Maybe we can do some measurements of where I saw it.
Do you remember exactly?
Oh yeah.
You could get there.
Oh yeah, I know how to get there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I suggest we go when the water is warm, because that's the most brilliant swimming hole. Anyway, thanks again for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
And
no problem.
I really appreciate it.
I hope that helps other people out too.
Did you want some quirky motel action from the 1940s here in the Olympic Peninsula? Well, search no further. I got a place just for you, and I think every room is open. So won't you please join me for this humdinger of some bonus footage here at the Eagle Mount Rockaway Motel. Enjoy. Mind if I have that back? Thank you. Patriot, I see. You wanted quirky, you're gonna get it. And it's less than a mile from my new digs out here near Port Townsend, Washington. So far, we're at the motel. That's pretty much all I know. I do have a pamphlet. I guess I could break that out. This, however, I'm glad I got it back. These patches, I can't say enough. I mean, see the way that stuck to this vest? It could stick to your vest, to your hat, to your bag. Stick it on your mother-in-law's backside. I don't care. Get a photograph of any of our merch at olympicstrangedays.com. Plug, including this patch. Rubberize, Velcro, stitch it, whatever you feel, along with our t-shirts, hoodies. Get a photograph of said person in our merch, yourself, name, email, phone number if you like. Attend Olympic Strange Days if you can. You don't need to. We're having a drawing on the last day of our conference, second week of October, out in Beaver, Washington, for Olympic Strange Days Part 2. And if your name gets pulled out of the hat, I have a haunted hat, then you get a free ticket to next year. If you and your sweetie both have merch on, you both get a ticket for next year if your name gets drawn. So stay tuned for that. But let's talk quirky, and let's talk about this video we got coming up. Whew. This is as good as it gets, boys. I wanted quirky, I wanted roadside attractions, and I got it right here. Right next door. You gotta be kidding me. They've got their own jail cell here with, I don't know, one of the ladies from The View. This is it. This is a literal Route 66 roadside attraction with a dinosaur on top of a prison cell. Are you kidding me? I've driven past this place for the last 4 years, and I've always been in too much of a damn hurry to stop by, and quirky had been sitting staring back at me, and I had no idea. This is the blacksmith. I'm at the Rockery Cottages right here outside of Chimicum in Port Townsend, Washington. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd see 20 mules coming up the old highway. Cannon and the biggest osprey. Now maybe that's a recreation of a thunderbird. Up here, it looks like we have, we'll come back to you too. It looks like you're mid-introduction. In honor of Stumpy is this amazing old totem pole with a beaver in the most powerful spot, right? I think the base of the totem. She is being propped up like Weekend at Bernie's style. Oh, he's got a look. He's serious about her. Hand extended. I like it. Oh my gosh, this is great. The children. Look at this rascal. Oh, this is a pioneer. And look at his feet are in the earth. This is how long his patience has waited for this kind gentleman to accept him. This is a fur, probably a beaver hat. Old Pendleton blanket, that's the way they did it. And a teepee with a fire pit between them. And then reconstruction of famous global mountain peaks and megalithic structures. There's the Sphinx. There's the Great Pyramids of Giza. Now we know the pyramids are much more than the pyramids. They appear to be monoliths buried in the sand. I mean, the features that have just come up through LiDAR that have been found underneath the Great Pyramid, it's wild what those could possibly be or have been. Kilimanjaro, incredible. And then over here, again, can you imagine this as it was when it was built? Maybe this was filled with water. These are like reconstructions of old buildings that maybe came from the imagination. Maybe that's Manresa Castle. If it is, every first Saturday of the month, May 3rd starting, you can join us there. We'll be right in this section. Port Townsend, Washington. Go to olympicstrangedays.com. The Colosseum. So this is a global, yeah, here's Mexico. So this is really fascinating because this person appears to have traveled quite a bit or had access in the 40s to almanacs quite a bit. And they're really interested not only in the culture of what happened here in the Pacific Northwest with the Native Americans and colonialism and the pioneers, but they're also into world travel. I'm just gonna take a chance and come over here and film. This looks like the White House. Maybe a scene from Gettysburg. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this being fake or a reconstruction, but I can't do it. I mean, that's not... Are these real oyster shells? Is that possible? I mean, that would be a 2.5 foot. Is there enough garlic sauce and butter to eat something like that? Oh, look at this guy. Sword in the stone. Someone's still loving this place. This is, I think I'm technically in their backyard now. So he said I need to look for the Bigfoot print. I don't know anything more than that. He said, look for the Bigfoot print. I said, do you have him here? And he goes, no. I said, do you want him? He goes, no. But he said there's a Bigfoot print here. Let's see if he's out from underneath the truck. I don't see it yet. No, he's still under there. You never bother a guy when he's under a truck. I found something. I don't think it's the Bigfoot print, but I do think this could be the beginning of a beautiful story here. Maybe a layer behind here. Talk to you later, dude. Okay, I'm gonna ask Ernie. I think this is a 2003. Can you give me one hint where the Bigfoot print is?
No,
He won't do it.
That's for your crew to find it.
And we're not good hunters if we don't find it.
Well, that's right.
Okay.
You have to come back.
He's serious. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Take care.
All right, that's all we got. I like his style. He wouldn't give it up. I must be a complete puss. Part 2. Got to be a part 2 to this place. I'm sensing an overnight. Gonna have to get one of these bungalows. See what's going on here. Again, this is known as the Eaglemont Rockaway Cottages. Phone number here. If you want to stay, see it yourself. Maybe we can go have a beer at the castle. 360-379-8922. Look at that. They even got dish TV and Wi-Fi. Must be a French perfume.